Welcome back to Dropped In. I am beyond stoked to be here with you for another episode of sharing some magic and medicine with you in 2026. Happy freaking New Year. How are you doing? I know this time of year can bring a lot of mixed messages, a lot of mixed signals. Are we in a new year? You know, a lot of people are saying the new year begins in the lunar new year. Then we also have the astrological new year. Whatever new year or whatever you're doing, I am celebrating you. Personally, I love the new year. It's not a time for new year, new me, all the things, but it is definitely a space and place for me to become even more intentional and for me to really get a clear understanding of where I'm headed, you know? So I invite you to do the same, whether you recognize 2026 as a new year, whether you recognize the new year beginning the lunar new year or the astrological new year. I do invite you to take some intentional time to be with yourself if you haven't done so already and set the intention of what you want to call in for this year. For me personally, my word for this year is alive. As I reflected back on last year, it was a whirlwind of intensity. I navigated a lot of things behind the scenes, and let's just say I'm happy that that 9-year cycle has come to a completion, because even more than 2025, as I reflect back on that 9 years, holy man, it was a lot. It was a lot for me, a lot for my system, a lot of growth, expansion. And with that, I navigated through a lot of loss, a lot of grief, and a lot of trauma that I didn't even realize until I put all the things together over the years. I was like, yeah, that was a full-on 9-year cycle. So now as we step into 2026 being a 1 year, I personally am really excited to see what transpires, because if I was able to have one of my highest cash years to date, the highest cash year to date, the highest cash Q4 to date, amongst all the things I was navigating behind the scenes, yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for the growth, the expansion, and all the things that come as a result from leaning in and doing the damn work. Doing the damn work. So my word for this year is alive. And when I think of alive and when I think of the choices I'm making, I check in with myself. Is this choice going to make me feel more alive or less alive? And this is how I'm leading myself personally and professionally in 2026. Really tuning into my system, tuning in to the sensations in my body, and really gaining crystal clarity on whether the choices that I'm making are bringing forth more aliveness in my life. And so with that, I am dropping into a really profound conversation today with you. All things nervous system, shocker, all things subconscious mind, all things capacity. Are you ready? Let's roll. And so when I think about capacity, it's not the Instagram version. It's not the I survived a lot, so I must be strong version. And it's definitely not the hustle mythology that says pressure builds diamonds and trauma builds leaders. We are talking about what capacity actually is, how it's formed, and why so many high performing leaders keep hitting invisible ceilings, and why the thing you've been told grows capacity often does the opposite. So this episode is for the people who have been through a lot and are tired of pretending that alone means they are more resourced. Because here's the truth: most people never say out loud. More trials do not automatically grow your capacity. More pressure does not automatically make you stronger. And more hardship does not mean your nervous system magically expands to hold it all. In many cases, it does the reverse. So let's get dropped in. Most people think capacity is built like muscle. You lift heavier things, you carry more responsibility, you survive more seasons, you stack more experiences. And over time, you're told your capacity grows. That narrative is everywhere. If you've been through a lot, you must be resilient. If you've handled chaos before, you can handle it again. If you didn't break then, you won't break now. But here's the problem. Your nervous system is not a muscle. It's not a balloon. It does not just stretch endlessly because life keeps throwing more at you. And this misunderstanding is one of the biggest reasons people plateau, burn out, or quietly fall apart while still, quote unquote, functioning. Because what actually happens is this: your nervous system keeps the score. Every unresolved experience leaves an imprint. Every moment you had to override yourself gets stored. Every time you pushed through when it wasn't safe to, that, my friend, gets logged. So when people say, "I've been through worse," what they're often really saying is, "I've learned how to override my body." That is not capacity. That is tolerance. And tolerance has a shelf life. Capacity is not how much you can endure. Capacity is how much you can stay present for without going into protection. Let me say that again. Capacity is how much intensity, responsibility, visibility, emotion, pressure, or uncertainty you can experience while remaining regulated enough to respond instead of react. That's it. Capacity is not about surviving the storm. It's about whether your system can stay online while it's happening. And here's where the metaphor breaks down for a lot of people. Your nervous system is not one clean, expandable container. It's more like a room filled with furniture. Every unresolved experience is a piece of furniture. Every unprocessed shock is a heavy object. Every time you swallowed your truth, there's a chair shoved in the corner. When life keeps adding more, it doesn't magically make the room bigger. It just gets more crowded. So when something new shows up, a launch, a leadership decision, more money, more eyes on you, your system isn't responding to just this moment. It's responding to everything already in the room. That's why people snap out of nowhere. That's why success can feel more destabilizing than struggle. That's why visibility can trigger collapse even when everything is going well. It's not because you're incapable. It's because your system is full. This is the part that challenges a lot of deeply held beliefs. Struggle does not grow capacity by default. Stress does not train the nervous system to hold more. Trauma does not build resilience unless it is processed. What repeated stress actually does is reinforce protective patterns. Your system learns. Clamp down, brace, stay alert, control the variables. Don't feel too much, don't slow down, don't let go. And that might work short term or temporarily, but over time, the cost shows up as chronic anxiety, emotional flatness, decision fatigue, health symptoms that make no sense on paper, success that feels heavier instead of freer, even that functional freeze. So if pressure alone grew capacity, the most stressed out people in all the world would feel the safest, wouldn't they? And they don't. They feel exhausted, reactive, and one more thing away from losing it. They are literally at capacity. Because capacity isn't built through exposure alone, it's built through integration. Capacity grows when the nervous system learns that intensity does not equal danger. And that only happens through real-time regulation, rewiring, and resolution. Not insight alone, not reframing alone, and definitely not positive thinking alone. The nervous system has to experience something differently than it did before. This is where the work actually happens. When an old response shows up and you stay with your body instead of overriding it. When activation rises and you don't abandon yourself to push through. When your system discharges instead of storing. That's how the room clears. Not by adding more furniture, but by removing what no longer needs to be there. Each resolved pattern creates more space. And my friend, the only way out is through. And through that space is capacity. Now we need to get very clear here. When it comes down to subconscious change work versus nervous system work, because this is where a lot of misinformation lives. Subconscious change work and nervous system work are not the same thing. They are related, they are complementary, but they are not interchangeable. Subconscious change work deals with beliefs, meaning making, internal narratives, identity structures, and learned associations. It works primarily through the mind and symbolic processing. And yes, the nervous system responds beautifully to it. But responding is not the same as being trained. Nervous system work deals with physiological state, patterning, autonomic responses, and the body's threat detection system. It works through sensation, timing, pacing, and real-time rewiring. You can rewire a belief and still have a dysregulated nervous system. You can intellectually know you are safe and still have a body that does not agree. That's why someone can say, I know this isn't a big deal, while their chest is tight and their jaw is locked. The subconscious might be updated, the nervous system is not. This is why I am obsessed with RRT. And being trained in subconscious change work does not automatically mean you are trained in nervous system regulation. That is a different skill set, a completely different lens, and a whole different level of responsibility. Confusing the two leads to people trying to think their way out of physiological responses, which does not work. So if you're leading people, building something, or holding responsibility, this matters more than almost anything else. Because leadership is not about how much you can carry. It's about how stable your system is while you're carrying it. Your team feels your regulation. Your clients respond to your nervous system. Your decisions are shaped by your internal state. Capacity determines how clean your boundaries are, how clearly you communicate, how well you recover from pressure, how safe people feel around you. And you certainly don't scale by adding more stress. You scale by increasing how much your system can hold without fragmenting. This is capacity. And so the real work is not about chasing more. Be there. It's noticing where your system tightens and getting curious instead of powering through, or numbing out, or bypassing. It's slowing down enough for your body to complete responses it never got to finish. It's building regulation as a skill, not a trend. Capacity is built in the quiet moments, in the pauses, in the integration, not in the chaos. And the more regulated your system becomes, the more life you can meet without self-protecting. That's the goal. Not endless endurance, not survival as a badge of honor, but presence. So if you've been wondering why more effort hasn't created more ease, why more success hasn't brought more safety, why strategy isn't the answer, why you keep hitting the same invisible ceiling, it's not because you haven't been through enough, my friend. It's because capacity doesn't grow by adding more weight. It grows by making space, by leaning in, by tuning into your body, acknowledging the sensations, the feelings, the textures, riding the wave, detaching meaning, detaching beliefs, and allowing yourself to feel what you are experiencing in real time. Not bypassing, not numbing, not even trying to regulate. It's literally riding that wave of the emotion, riding the wave of the sensation that your body is indicating. Leaning into that uncomfortableness. Tracking these events, these experiences. This is what I have my clients do all the time. This is the work I've been teaching for years. This is the work that works. Your capacity grows by making space. And that is a very different path than the one most people are on. So if this landed, sit with it, be with it. Start to listen to the language in which your body is communicating to you. Let your body catch up. And I really want you to know that your nervous system is not behind. It's been doing its job. It's been protecting you. And when we can lean in and utilize these tools and meet ourselves where we're at and be with the uncomfortableness, then we can start to really take these big events that are stored in our nervous system and we can start to open up that level of tolerance. I am so grateful to roll with you in another year of Dropped In. We will be celebrating our 3rd anniversary very soon, in a couple weeks. So stay tuned. Until next time, I will see you on Dropped In.